Mic check. Woo! Alright, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a brand new series, weekly, that I'm starting up called My Favorite Matches. Very simple concept here. All I am doing is simply going over matches from the past week or so that I find worthy of talking about, worth shouting out. Not going into too much detail, but, you know, just shouting out, just talking about some of the good wrestling I saw from this past week, man. You know, from everywhere that I could find it. Be it old and new, you know. So I'm of course covering the last full week of August. This was a very good week of wrestling, a lot of busy big events along with some good stuff from the independent scene. Starting with the big events from the weekend, we have AEW's Forbidden Door collab pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling. A lot of good wrestling from here. I've already made a review on it. You can go check it out on the channel. Links somewhere. I can put the card up here or something like that. So the first match I want to shout out came from actually the pre-show, which I didn't talk about. But it was Ricochet and the Gates of Agony versus Michael Oku and Jet Speed. Again, Ricochet and the Gates of Agony are a great team. Michael Oku is proving why he should be signed to one of these big promotions. And Jet Speed himself is, of course, just a great tag team that I love watching all that I can. So, really good match there to start things off. We also have Kyle Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi. Two amazing wrestlers. I love Hiromu Takahashi. And, of course, Kyle Fletcher is proven to be one of the best rising stars in the world right now, so that was a really fun match to watch. Nigel McGuinness versus Zack Sabre Jr. Technical masterpiece between these two. You know, British guy in a British country. Makes all the sense in the world to put this match together. And, of course, it turned out to be an awesome match. I'm actually also going to shout out Bro Deedle versus Syndicate versus FTR. I was a bit harsh on this match in my review itself because I didn't think the booking made too much sense, but when I look back at it, I think a lot of the action itself was really great, so I did think this one was worth shouting out. Also, Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland. I did say some not nice things about it, but like, it was still a really good match. I tried to play it out as much as I can. I still really liked the match itself. I found it enjoyable enough to be worth shouting out in this video. Of course, you also had the AEW World Title match between MJF and Adam Page for all that overbooked nonsense. As fun as that, as much as like that can be a bit much, I think can also has its fun purposes. You know, we see WWE do that stuff a lot these days, so seeing AEW's kind of spin on it, it's not as bad. It's still a really good match, and of course, all the drama and build up towards it all was still really worth watching. And then of course the main event of Darby Allin, Hiroshi Tanahashi, Will Ospreay, and the Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus the Death Riders of Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, Gabe Kidd, and the Young Bucks Matt and Nick Jackson in that lights out steel cage match. Insane car crash of a match with some unbelievable spots all throughout and some good performances between all 10 guys here. We also saw NXT Heatwave take place over the weekend. Some matches I think we're shouting out include Blake Monroe versus Jordan Grace, a really hard-hitting affair between these two that makes me excited to see what those two women will do in the future, as well as the main event of Javon Evans versus Oba Femi, a really, really great, spectacular match. A really good David versus Goliath matchup that has a really fun outcome and has some really good spots all going throughout it. On the weekly TV levels, we have some worth shouting out. I'm gonna be honest, it's all AEW, man. These guys are on a roll as always. First up, we have the Paragon versus the Young Bucks. This is a dream match a couple years ago. So now being able to finally see this take place in person and to live up to as expectations was really awesome to see. I love both these teams. I really think Paragon should be closer to the tag team title scene than they are right now. So I hope they were able to build some momentum up and getting themselves there. Obviously, your obligatory Konosuke Takeshita match versus Tomohiro Ishii from Collision was also really spectacular. Also from Dynamite, we had the team of Bro Dito and Jet Speed versus the Don Callis family, Hechicero, Josh Alexander, Konosuke Takeshita, and Kazuchika Okada. Really awesome all-star 8-man tag team match that I love that AEW does. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony versus the Ups for the trios titles was really fun too. I like the dynamic and the whole match psychology of that throughout. That was really fun. And then Claudio Castagnoli and Darby Allin in a Falls Count Anywhere match that paid homage to so many awesome ECW spots. And of course, Darby Allin is also must-see TV at this point. I feel like if you're not watching Darby Allin matches whenever he's on, I feel like you're missing out on a bunch. So that's a match I would recommend checking out. That was pretty much it from the weekly TV scene. There's one match I want to mention from the regional circuits, and it was Bear Bronson versus Matt Tremont at GCW Homecoming Weekend 2025, Day 2. I saw good things about this match, so when I went to check it out, I was pleasantly surprised that it was just a fun, awesome, hardcore war between the two guys. Matt Tremont, obviously a hardcore legend, and Bear Bronson is trying to make this career comeback, which is really awesome to see him put on such performance after, everything he's been through with his AEW career and his partner and all that good stuff. So I was really happy to see him, at least if you're going to be doing hardcore deathmatch wrestling, it still pays off in a way that makes the match good. So I'm happy for him that he had such a good match here. Hopefully that means he can be picked up somewhere else, maybe. I don't know, man. We'll see. I want good things for Bear Bronson if going forward. That's what I'll say. Overseas time, we're gonna go to the UK first, and talk about RevPro's 13th anniversary show that I watched over the weekend. They had a really awesome weekend of events going on here. The first match worth talking about is Emerson Jane versus Mercedes Moné. Not as familiar with Emerson Jane as most the women's wrestlers, but she did awesome. And of course, Mercedes Moné is one of the best wrestlers in the world right now, so that match was really good. Ricky Knight versus Shaw Samuels in a title versus career match. Wow. Dude, Shaw Samuels, I'm sorry I didn't know you were like that, bro. I'm sorry, like, I didn't see you more when your career was still active, I guess, but damn, you put in one heck of a performance here. I love some drama in my independent wrestling. Whenever there's drama in your independent wrestling matches, I think can make for some of the more interesting moments and spots throughout the match, and that match was no different. I love that one a lot. Leon Slater versus Michael Oku. Dude, how good is Leon Slater, man? How fucking good is this guy? I can't believe it took him so long. I can't believe it took TNA so long to put the TNA X Division title belt on this guy, because he's just fucking perfect for it, man. And he proved it here in his match against Michael Oku, who himself is obviously one of the best British wrestlers in the world right now. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Zoya was also a match I thought was worth shouting out. Again, not as familiar with Zoya, but he did really well here. And then also from the event was One Called Manders and Thomas Shire versus Connor Mills and Jay Joshua. I'm kind of familiar with Connor Mills and One Called Manders. The other two guys are a bit more foreign to me, but those four had a really good showing here in this tag team match. And then also from the weekend was Progress Chapter 183 Volts, in which a match I saw was Luke Jacobs versus Man Like DeReese, which I believe was for the Progress World Championship here. I didn't write it down here, but yeah, this match was really good too. I recommend watching that match as well. Moving on to Japan and onto our anime weeb section, we have Azumi versus Rina in the Stardom 5-Star Grand Prix Day 13 semifinals. Of course, Azumi is one of my all-time GOATs. I think she's one of the best female wrestlers in the world right now. I hope to see her get the push that she's one of the most underrated for sure. I hope to see her get that push finally within at least the Stardom promotion, which she was on her way to, because then she went on to the finals. She won that match and went on to the finals to face Momo Watanabe in the finals of the 5-Star Grand Prix, but ended up losing. But it was still, that match itself was also something worth checking out. It's something else worth shouting out. So yeah, that match was really great too. And then also from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, Tokyo Princess Cup 2025 Day 5 was Arisu Endo versus Miyu Watanabe in a really awesome match too. I watched last week's match. It was Miyu Watanabe versus, I can't remember whose name it was, but it was a really great physical match between the two, and it got me really more into TJPW than I had been in the last few months, or at all even, really, I should say. And Miyu Watanabe continued that momentum in this match here with Arisu Endo. Yeah, she's really great too. She's been becoming one of my favorites slowly in the Joshi wrestling circuit right now. So that was an awesome match too. I look forward to seeing more from Miyu Watanabe. Also from Japan, we have Naoya Nomura versus Yuma Ayo. Hold on, let me get this name right. Naoya Nomura versus Yuma Aoyagi? I think that's how you pronounce it, but it was from the All Japan Pro Wrestling OD Tournament 2025 Day 1. Again, fantastic match between those two here. Also worth shouting out was at the Pro Wrestling Noah's Mohamed Yone 30th Anniversary Disco Ball event. It was a 6-man tag team match between Daisuke Akita, Mohamed Yone, and Naomichi Marufuji versus Atsushi Kotoge, Go Shiozaki, and Shiju Ishikawa. So those all 6 guys had a really fun 6-man tag team match that I think is worth checking out. Moving on to older stuff, we have my From the Vault. This is my From the Vault section of the video where I talk about matches that were uploaded to YouTube by big wrestling promotions in the last week or so. All these matches I'm going to talk about are in a playlist that I have made available for the week, that if you guys are wanting to check out any of the matches that I'm talking about now, you can go ahead. Starting with a video that was uploaded by WWE Vault. It was 3 hours of Bam Bam Bigelow matches, and I think the one that really stood out to me was his match against Bret Hart on it was like a European tour show kind of thing on April the 24th, 1993. That match really surprised me. I had never seen that match before in my life, so when I got to it, yeah, that match is really great. Something I would suggest watching. Also, WWE Vault uploaded Bret Hart versus The Undertaker from One Night Only in 1997. One of those classic Bret Hart Undertaker matches that those guys had a lot of good. They had a lot of good matches, and it was a pretty underrated feud from that time period in 1997 because of how much more was going on at the circuit. But I think that one is worth checking out as well. Some stuff from Clash of Champions 2020, one being a Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton in their ambulance match. It's a bit overbooked now, but I think all the action throughout is really fun and entertaining, and I think, you know, you do get a kick out of the legends appearing throughout the matches. Also from that show was AJ Styles defending his Intercontinental title. Oh no, sorry, it was Jeff Hardy defending his Intercontinental title against Sami Zayn and AJ Styles in a ladder match. Clash of Champions 2020. Again, really fun ladder match. One of the highlight matches from the pandemic era that is actually still worth going back and watching, so I'd recommend that. The WCW YouTube channel also uploaded a video, the full Super Brawl 2 pay-per-view, which featured an amazing match between Jushin Thunder Liger and Brian Pillman. So that one is worth checking out as well. AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels at Bound for Glory 2005 was uploaded by the TNA channel, so I would recommend that one as well. This week's We Are Stardom episode highlighted Starlight Kid versus Saraya Eno for the Wonder of Stardom Championship. That was an awesome match too. I keep singing the praises of Starlight Kid. She had some amazing matches last week in the 5-star Grand Prix, so I'd recommend watching that match too. From Clash of the Castle 2022 to celebrate their upcoming Clash in Paris pay-per-view, WWE uploaded Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Alexis Bliss versus Damage Control, a fun 6-woman tag match. One of the better 6-woman tag matches in history, I think, honestly. This was a really fun match. Another one to talk about is Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens at Bash in Berlin 2024. That was a really fun face versus face dynamic here. That was some really interesting spots going into and out of it. You know, Kevin Owens is always has such a mind for ring psychology. It's awesome watching him go to work, and I really miss him a lot. So that was a really fun one to watch. Dude, this is a big one I want to talk about. The NXT YouTube channel uploaded NXT TakeOver Vengeance Day 2021, which in my opinion is one of the best pandemic era CWC NXT match events of all time. I think that whole era, like the CWC NXT is still very much watchable, even like despite the whole restrictions of pandemic and everything. And this event is probably the best one from that era. There are so many classics on here. First, you have Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Ember Moon and Shotzi Blackheart. You have Johnny Gargano versus Kushida for the NXT North American Championship. You have MSK versus the Grizzled Young Veterans. Two fucking amazing teams just going to battle. And then finally, in the main event, you have Finn Balor versus Pete Dunne in one of the most underrated NXT matches I've ever seen. And then you also have that awesome end of the show angle going on here with the Undisputed Era. Very, very good stuff. I love this show a lot. I enjoyed watching this one back, very much so. Getting down to the nitty gritty, I'm going to talk about this one first. I have CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match that was also happening at Bash in Berlin. You know, I love watching that and the Steel Cage, and that and the Hell in a Cell match are so enjoyable to go back and watch, man. That feud is still so great. I love watching that feud back. It was super, super good stuff going on with them. But then finally, the last match I want to talk about here today is Kenta Kobashi versus Samoa Joe at Ring of Honor, Joe versus Kobashi in 2005. Dude, this match box, man. This is such a banger. I can't describe how good of a match this is and how much I miss like that era of wrestling. It's just a match you have to see to believe yourself, man. And you just have to experience it yourself, man. It's such a great, awesome match. I love, those two guys working the same match is just it's such good shit, man. But that's gonna do it for me. Those are my highlights. Those are my standouts. Those are my shoutouts to some matches that I've been enjoying in the past few weeks. Upcoming shows I'm going to be looking forward to reviewing is going to be Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor 2025, which is taking place the day I'm recording this, and then also Clash in Paris, which I'll be uploading, a few days after it happens. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Subscribe to that if you want to see my review of that. But yeah, I think that is going to do it for me. I will see you guys in the next video. Be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. That's going to do it for me. Bye.